Hello, my name is Nicolaas van Wyk. I'm the editor of Accounting Weekly, and we're conducting another session interview with an influencer, stakeholder, an interesting person on LinkedIn. I'm the editor of Accounting Weekly, and Accounting Weekly is a publication of the Chartered Institute for Business Accountants, a professional body that was registered in South Africa back in the 1980s. And then developed into a full-blown, full-service professional body with designations in all levels of the finance department, from bookkeeping to a financial administrator, general accountant, financial manager, and CFO. And CIBA also has a designation for accountants in practice. CIBA is a recognized controlling body with SARS and have all the relevant statutory recognitions as demanded by various pieces of legislation, which all make the accounting profession very interesting to be involved with. If you're an aspiring student, there's so much to do within the profession. It's actually scary. So I suppose most of the students and the audience would know auditing, and that is kind of the dominant theme within the profession. I suppose a very generic term from a layman's perspective that kind of covers everything accountants do. But as you Google finance department organogram, it's actually amazing to see how many different areas there is in a finance department and the different service areas, whether it's forensic accounting or valuations, immigration accounting, tax accounting, specialist reporting accountant, and that's not just auditing. There's so many areas of reporting and assurance provisions other than just auditing. I think on the CIBA website, we have a section for practice support, and I once counted the number of reporting engagements and things that members can do, and it's more than 15 or 20 different types of reports, whether it's compilation, factual finding, review engagements, or auditing, and for different audiences. And then you get your treasuries within a finance department, internal controls, the normal debtors, creditors, clerks, the analysts that you need, the CFOs, which again is a different breed because you add a business element to the typical accounting role, your classical accountant, which is more within the finance manager role. So there's a whole variety. But a bedrock of the profession has always been accounting, and then it starts at university level, where we have to train and develop the next generation. And this is then obviously what got my interest in our guest that we have with us today. That's Dillen Breitenbach. He's the founder of Accounting Warriors, and I must say that is obviously a nice term to have, an accounting warrior. It resonates well with our own term that we developed at CIBA, which is the Army of Accountants for Economic Development in Africa. So that was another thing that caught my eye when I received Dillen's messages in LinkedIn in my stream. Dillen works for Moore, which is a very well-known auditing and accounting firm, an advisory firm, all over South Africa, and I'm also overseas, being international. So it'll be refreshing to speak with Dillen about a number of things. I think for Accounting Weekly listeners, it would be nice. There was a specific program that Moore is running called Move, where they provide some experience and exposure for those that want to enter the profession, and we need to obviously keep as stakeholders in the profession, we need to ensure that the profession is attractive to future learners. And then the second bit I would want to talk to Dillen about is obviously the Accounting Warriors. And if you want to go to his LinkedIn page, it's Dillen Breitenbach, you'll find him. And if you are studying accounting, or if you're a practitioner and you're struggling with something, I can guarantee the way he lays it out. I don't know whether he's just taking his study books and or his summaries that he made whilst he studied and presenting them in a new way, but it's all very exciting and interesting, and helped me a few times when I needed some guidance on how to apply a IFRS standard. So that's our introduction. Welcome again to Accounting Weekly. And now let me then hand over to Dillen. Dillen, if you don't mind, please share with us a bit about your own background and how you ended up working with Moore and what you're currently doing there.
Okay, awesome. So I'm Dillen. I am currently studying towards a CASA designation. So I did my undergrad and my CTA through UNISA. I passed all of that first time, and I did my articles while studying at a smaller firm called the Vet van Schalkwyk. And then I passed my ITC in January. So now I'm studying towards the APC exam. And I started as an audit senior at Moore this year, which is basically a role after articles where you manage your team members, you train your junior staff, you manage a portfolio of audit clients, review the audits, make sure that it's up to standard according to your training and your knowledge of ISA and the Moore methodology. So that's what I'm currently doing at Moore. And then in my part-time, I started the Accounting Warriors page where I present information to people in the educational space to help them understand difficult concepts a little bit better. Because sometimes, you have a question about something, but you don't necessarily want to buy a tutoring course that covers all the topics. So Accounting Warriors aims to give you a little bit of flexibility to only search for the information that you need and to present it in a way that people can understand very easily.
All right, thanks, Dylan. Tell me a little bit more about Moore. I didn't know that you just started with them and already a senior audit. You can just correct me on that title. Moore is how big is that company? Can you share with us a bit more history about Moore or background and where it's positioned in South Africa?
So Moore is basically a network firm with various offices across South Africa. So each office has their own partners that operate under the Moore brand. Our offices, the Moore Johannesburg brand specifically, is about 200 people strong now, I think. We had a large intake this year. And then there's international branches as well. That's part of the network. And then in Moore itself, we've got different divisions. So we've got audit divisions that audits locally. Then we've got the international division that services firms in Europe and in America. And then we have an advisory team that services advisory clients also across Africa and Europe. And so it's quite a big firm and with a lot of divisions. We also have a blockchain division that is working towards blockchain software and is also doing the proof of reserves for Luna. So it's quite a big firm.
And what made you interested in the accounting profession?
So for me, I've always been good in accounting. At school, I was a top student for accounting, and I quite enjoyed how accounting works. It's a logical field. It's where did the money go, and also the opportunities that comes from it. I mean, it's probably the only profession that I know that you get to deal with so many industries, especially if you're in audit. There's never really a dull moment. You can go from auditing a gold mine to auditing a telecommunication company, in a matter of weeks. So for me, it's about all those opportunities, all the different roles that you can play as an accountant.
Did you know these things before you started your articles, or did you kind of stumble into the field and now started to enjoy it? What was your journey?
So my journey was when I was in school. My mom had a friend that worked at an auditing firm, and because I was doing so well in accounting, she said that I should go and do some job shadowing at the firm. And when I did the job shadowing, the partner at the time spoke to me about the opportunities that the CA designation brings, about all the different things you can do in audit, all the different things you can do after audit, your international opportunities. And that's kind of how I started learning about how CAs work, what accountants do in general. But only when I started my articles, I understood the extent to what it goes and the different accounting bodies that we are available to.
I must say that's also what I enjoyed of my article period was the scope of entities that you discover and work with, how each one is set up and what the internal processes are, and the business dynamics. So if there is any aspiring students listening, or maybe a family member that's considering accounting, it's really a very good foundational thing to study, as well as in those first year, 3 years of articles is so important for your career development. And this having a BCom with an articles does lead to many opportunities. You obviously don't have to stay in the practice of accounting, servicing clients. You can go into corporate, and also you're not stuck only with the finance department, but you can move around because you understand business so well. So, Dillen, now let's move then on to your accounting warriors. What gave you the idea, or did you then just decide you want to assist people in doing them? I think the first time I got to see how big something like this can go is with, now I forgot the name. There's this company that's now global. It started very, very small, but providing online math tuition. And that where anybody can just log in, and there's a whole bunch of videos on different aspects of mathematics, and the usefulness thereof for the broader audience. So how did you then decide, and what do you foresee in future for Accounting Warriors? Are you just sharing it on LinkedIn? Do you have a website? Do you have team members, or is it just you currently sharing information?
So Accounting Warriors started because I was part of a kind of community. When I did my CTA at UNISA, we had a group of around 900 students, and initially I joined the group to get support and theoretical knowledge for myself, because as a UNISA student you generally study in isolation. But then a lot of the students started asking questions, and I actually knew the answers to it, so I started helping them out. And through doing that, I actually found a piece of myself in how much I love giving training. And I started doing that. And then when I finished my CTA, I then realized that I'm now exiting this cool community that I've created or helped create it. And I don't actually want to lose that exposure in training. So then I decided the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test the waters, and I'm going to post on LinkedIn about this awesome community. It's on WhatsApp about how you can find other students that are also studying CTA, and you can find help, you can provide help. And I shared that on LinkedIn, and then the caption that I actually used was Accounting Warriors, here's a cool WhatsApp group for you to join. And that post got such an amazing reaction that I decided, well, maybe this is a cool platform where I can start sharing notes and stuff. And I started doing that, started explaining, and then the network just grew from there. And right now it is 50 days old. So it's in a very, very early stage of Accounting Warriors, but we are looking towards doing a website where tutor services will be provided, but on a more flexible way. So rather than paying upfront for all of your fees, it's going to work more on a monthly subscription model based on what subjects you need. And obviously, if you maybe only needed help for the first part of CTA and not the second part of CTA, you can unsubscribe and resubscribe. So that's kind of the flexible side that we want to bring in. And but that's still in process. There's no website currently. We're working towards that, and that's the long-term goal. So that's what Accounting Warriors effectively is going to become, is a cool place for students to get quality content, quality education without incurring the significant costs that it currently costs to get access to that educational content.
Thanks, Dillen. And you mentioned that you also involved with others. You used the word we. Do you have a few partners or supporters?
So the word we, actually, I always use we, even if it's just me, because I believe in teamwork. So no, there's currently just me doing the posts, doing the content and stuff. But the community I was talking about was a bunch of CTA students on WhatsApp that we just, you say the question, how does IFRS 9 work? Someone on that group out of 900 people needs to know. And that helped me a lot. And that's why I started the Accounting Warriors movement.
And I see there's also some posts on tax, quite interesting ones that I think practitioners would find useful. I'm just browsing here on your LinkedIn profile, Dillen Breitenbach. There's a whole analysis of CGT and donations tax and when they apply.
Yeah, so the accounting warrior.
How do you go about in compiling your data? Do you start with a textbook and then more guides, and do you follow a specific syllabus? Is it only for CA students? The profession is quite blessed in South Africa. There's about 10 accounting bodies, ACCA, CIBA, being international, and then CIBA, also with a large student contingent. There's CIBA and IAC, and in government sector, there's also a few professional accounting bodies. And then, so there's just a variety of topics that you're going to cover, curriculum that you're going to follow, and also tuition. I think there's a big need in tuition. That I think it's a big growing area in quality tuition, especially with the schooling system and possibly universities not providing the support as they can or should. Private players, I think there's a big need for that. And some of the numbers, if you analyze how many CTA students study and how many CTA students want to get to tuition, there were some big players in that area, and the revenues are in the millions. So it's definitely an area that I think that is good for growth.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very, very big industry, and Accounting Warrior specifically is not covering only accounting topics. It's mainly currently following the CTA syllabus, mainly because the CTA syllabus covers your audit, it covers your tax, it covers your management accounting, and it covers your tax. So that's why I'm following the CTA syllabus and presenting all the various topics in line with what they will be writing, because it's relevant to other professionals as well. If you're doing CIMA, some of the management accounting stuff is also going to be applicable to you. If you're in tax, some of your tax things are going to be applicable to you. And as an everyday accountant, I mean, you use tax on a pretty much monthly basis, and even audit, because a lot of companies are subject to audits. And if you understand the audit process maybe a little bit better, maybe you didn't go through a formal education, then you'll understand why the auditor is asking for certain things at the end of the day, and it would just make everybody understand the profession a little bit better.
I can see it that CIBA would definitely also want to engage with you. There's lots of touch points, not only for our own article clerks, but also our members, and within our accounting academy, which is our education division. Would be interested. I'll definitely going to have my staff members contact you. I see that you studied at UNISA. Did you do part-time studies, or did you work and study, and how did that work?
So yes, I started my undergrad at UNISA in 2020, and concurrently I also started my articles. So I was working full-time as an article clerk, and then I was studying part-time at UNISA with my degree. I completed the degree in 3 years with distinction, and then I went on to do CTA in my 4th year. So when you do articles and you study part-time, you first start on a 5-year contract. And then once you pass your degree, it gets reduced to a 4-year contract, obviously dependent on which professional body you are signed with to do your articles. So that's why I had to do a 4-year article instead of a 3-year articles. But yes, I did articles and my degree in CTA all together.
Yeah, that's quite a tough route, but I think also one that prepares you well for the world of work. The CIBA issued their new, I think it was the qualifying exam results, and I seem to recall some articles in the media about the results not being what everybody hoped for, and there's actually like a lowering of pass marks and pass rates. If that is so, what do you subscribe that to?
So I think the biggest thing with being a UNISA student is you are left in isolation a lot, because UNISA is a large educational platform. And the best way I can describe it, it's more a model of we bring the accredited exams to you and we give you a structure of what you need to study. But in the end of the day, you need to put the work in. Like, I'm a very good example that I went through the UNISA route while studying part-time, and I still passed my board first time. So it is possible, but it's with UNISA, it is more up to you, the hours that you put in understanding the work. And a big thing is if you are one of those students that needs extra help, you need to be willing to admit that you need extra help, and you need to go look for resources that you can use to help you on your UNISA journey. But the issue currently is those resources are quite expensive, because the big thing is if you are studying at UNISA, it is usually because of funding requirements, and you can't necessarily afford a double tuition in order to get extra help for your UNISA degree.
So that could maybe explain your NISA pass marks, but generally the results were not great for the CIBA exams that everybody wanted to attend. There was maybe even a decline in comparison with previous years. Is there a specific reason that you've thought about what could be this? Is it are we attracting a different kind of students to the profession? Is the content not keeping up with changes in lifestyles or technology? Because I know there's a lot of investment that CIBA makes in the training their students. They get a lot of funding as part of the TUCA program. It must be one of the most well-funded training programs in the country. If you think about it, I'm always amazed that CIBA's revenue is R1 billion a year. Half of that is the support they get for the TUCA programs. The other professional bodies, like even ourselves, if you compare revenue, it's like really, really small. And we not have really anything close to those resources. And then besides CIBA and the other professional bodies supporting students, there's the CITAs, like a facet spending also millions every year on student development. And there's other CITAs and other programs from government doing mathematics support and all those things. So it seems like the more money we spend, the less or the lower the effect. But nobody can kind of seem to put their finger on it. So a younger person like you, just starting out in the profession, having gone through the CTA and the UNISA thing, what is the reason that there is a lower pass mark on the qualifying exams, for example, with the CIBA?
So for me, I think it all comes down to mindset. I think there's so much fear regarding CTA and ITC that a lot of people already start themselves at a disadvantage, because you go into CTA seeing that it already as this massive mountain, and you don't even have experience in how hard it's going to be, but you already believe that it's going to be hard. You already believe that you, for example, might be at a disadvantage because of your varsity. And because of that mindset, you freak yourself out a lot, and that leads to a lot of different things. It leads to, procrastination, so you're not studying effectively. It leads to, decision paralysis, because you can't make the decisions because you're scared of failing, that it becomes this big with some accounting standards. If you break it down into the content, it's actually fairly straightforward. But because of all the fear that you have by the time you get to ITC, especially if you do articles while studying, because in your first year your partner says, yeah, great, you passed, but wait till third year comes. In your second year, wait till third year. Then in third year, they're like, yeah, but CTA is the difficult. When CTA comes, yeah, but you still have ITC. So by the time you get to these steps, you're already so freaked out that you actually, you can't study effectively. And I think that's what it comes down to is the mindset. And you need to be able to calm yourself and understand that the test is a test of your knowledge on that date on a certain topic. It's not necessarily linked to your competence. And once you can calm yourself more in that kind of mindset space, then you're already setting yourself up to win. So that was my biggest advice, even to people last year studying with me, is go into a test or an exam with the mindset that you're going to do the best that you can. Don't go into the test already thinking that you might fail it, because then you're setting yourself up for failure.
I think that is a very good point that you made, and applicable to most people. And the distinction that you made between knowledge and competence, I think that is key. So realize that you are representing or showing your skills in repeating the knowledge that you've learned and understanding that. And you don't have to overburden yourself by thinking, but you should be competent in a certain way. And you studied standards, and that is so crucial to remember. At CIBA, we wanted also to make the profession more accessible to more people, because our own research has shown similar things, that people eliminate themselves from the profession by thinking, no, you have to be special, or you have to be this type of person before you may enter. So we wanted to make it accessible and friendly. And one of our other pylons is at CIBA, anyone can become an accountant. Now, it's obviously tongue-in-cheek, but the point is we want you at least to try and not to eliminate yourself without even trying. Dillen, it has been nice talking to you. Just some final comments from your side, or a message for the aspiring students, aspiring accountants, and how can they reach you at Accounting Warriors?
Okay, so I think my biggest message would be that start your CTA here, although it's already test one has passed, but go in with a positive mindset. Ignore the fear that's created by the marketing to get you to buy tutoring classes. Ignore the fear that your previous students has talked into you. The journey is entirely possible, and the journey is entirely up to you and the effort that you put in during the journey. And as long as you put in the time, as long as you stay positive, and as long as you make sure that you understand the standards. It's not about the notes that you use. It's not about the university that you use. It's about the end of the day, if you get an IFRS 16 transaction, can you do it, and do you understand how that works? So that's where the focus should be. And then if you want to reach me at Accounting Warriors, you can just reach me at my LinkedIn page, which is Dillen Breitenbach, and send me a DM, and then I will respond to you as soon as possible.
Thank you very much, Dillen. I hope you have a lot of success. I can see a real need for the training and the tuition that you're now attempting to establish. And I can just repeat that you can guys have a look on what he already posted on his LinkedIn profile. It's really amazing. All accountants in practice, never mind students, will be able to use that information. And the Chartered Institute of Business Accountants will definitely contact Dillen. I think our students also need support like what you're providing. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
What do our defining moments look like? Just like this moment right now. They look like pride after achieving that long sought-after goal. All the small victories along the way that didn't feel momentous until we saw them in the rearview mirror. They look like the courage it takes to take that first big step. All the times we fail and rise again. And without even knowing it, cultivating an inner strength that is contagious along the way. They look like the inspiration that comes from knowing that we are not alone. They look like the human relationships that give us wisdom beyond what data ever could. They look like the curiosity that comes from exploring, that allow us to create and contribute. They look like education that unlocks our full potential, using our knowledge for impact. They look like choosing our own definition of success, over hiding, over hustling, over pretending. They look like others showing up and recognizing our efforts after all the times we already showed up for ourselves. They look like being bold enough to be extraordinary. They look like you. Right now, right here. First, we help you see your defining moments. Then we help you seize them. We are the accounting body for everyone. We are the accounting body